This video will discuss the basic conducting techniques for field drum majors. The style that I'm looking for is based on one thing: providing clear conducting patterns to musicians from very far away. When you're conducting very close, you can do a lot more detailed things with your fingertips and with the palms of your hands. But when you're conducting from really far away, sometimes past 50 yards away, you want to make sure that it's nothing but clear with big motions. So we're going to talk about that in this video. The first thing you should know is that the fingers should always be put together. From far away, when you have a white glove, it's a lot easier to see this than it is to see this. From far, far away, the fingers apart won't really be seen with that white glove. So try to keep your fingers together at all times. Number two, the starting position should have your hands up like this. Now, it'll hurt your wrist if it's too far up, but just make sure that they can see your palms. The kids can't really see this from far away, can they? Or can they see this? Kind of like a traffic cop. Make sure that your palms are up so that they can see when you're conducting. The next thing I want you to try is the hot stove technique. If you were going to test to see if a hot stove was still hot, would you touch it like this, risking burning your hand, or would you touch it like this so that you know that you won't burn your hand and you still get to feel it? This is how you would do it. You would just tap it. So your hand is coming down, but just as quickly as it comes down, it comes back up. You're flicking your hand or your wrist. So I want you to try that as if you were conducting. So you're only moving the wrist right now. All right? The next thing I'd like you to do is pretend that there's an imaginary table about chest height, a little bit lower than chest height, maybe about here. And you're going to use that to pretend like you're tapping on that table. If you want, you can get a music stand and actually have something to contact. And without moving your elbows, you're still just moving your wrists. Practice those beats. Once you've practiced that a little bit, then you can start conducting in one. So you're going to use, mostly your wrist is moving, but your elbow is going to be bending a lot too. Not as much as the wrist. And your shoulder is barely going to move at all. So out of the three joints that you're using, the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder, the one that moves the most is the wrist, and then the elbow, and the shoulder shouldn't really move a lot. You'll probably hurt your shoulder if you move your shoulder too much. So from this angle, and from this angle, and you notice that I'm not really flicking the wrist until it gets to the bottom. All right, and I'll show you that in a slow motion clip right now. So now I'm going to talk to you about the 4 different conducting patterns that I would want you to practice. The first one I already did, which is just conducting in 1, where you're going straight up and down. You're just drawing lines. The second one would be 2/4 time, where one hand is moving in a J pattern or a hook. If you do 2 hands, they're both moving in a J pattern. That's 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on. And then 3/4, it's kind of like you're drawing a triangle, sort of a triangle that goes down, straight out, and then swoops back up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Notice that 1 is always biggest right before we hit 1. And then there's 4/4 time, which is where you're going to be drawing sort of an arrow that's pointing downwards, okay? So this would be 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I very often have trouble making my 3 as big and long as the 2. So sometimes I conduct like this, where 2 is big, and I make my 3 not coming out too far. Videotape yourself, see how it looks, and try to use the examples and the visuals that I put into this video. All right, go give it a try. And finally, cutoffs, which are so important because the band is so spread out. We need to coordinate everyone stopping their music at the same time, which requires a really big pattern, a circle, okay? Or with two hands, two circles. So this is how a basic cutoff happens. There's three parts: flip, circles, cutoff, okay? With one hand, it would go like this: flip, circle, cut. With two hands, flip, circle, cut. If you want to cut off on beat 1, the flip has to happen on beat 3, 2 beats before the cut. So it will go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you wanted to cut off the band on beat 3, you'd have to start 2 beats before that. So the flip would happen on 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that's how you do your cutoffs. Make sure your circles are really big, really smooth, and confident so the band follows you. Feel free to send me video clips of yourself practicing each of these techniques so I can give you help, critique, and commentary. All right.